Check. 1, 2. Is this working? Is this mic on? Cool. Okay, let's see if this thing wants to act up or not. All right. So, how is everybody doing? What is this? New features. What is this? That works. Fine. All right. So, let's get kind of started. Well, let's get started. All right. So, okay, I need to throw the music. Is it good on stream? Yeah, pretty good, I think. I'll just lower this smidge. Cool. All right, so I wanted to talk about something that I realized is kind of a greetings, nerf herder. That was one thing I wanted to talk about that I feel like it's a lost art, I guess you can say, in IT. But nonetheless, it's something that I think should be talked about. And that is knowing and understanding the fundamentals of IT. And I think it's such a an understated and underrated skill. So I have unfortunately been in the position where I need to start hiring people, and the hiring process is extremely boring. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But nonetheless, here I am. The biggest problem that I'm noticing is the lack of an understanding of or importance of fundamentals. And you might say, Jay, that's just fundamentals. Like, that should be standard across the board. Yeah, so is common sense, but that's not common either. And I think in IT, we take for granted the common sense or the common knowledges. Like, for me, example, I would think that everybody in IT has a pretty strong understanding of Windows. But that's not the case. I have to kind of like get to the point to understand that not everybody is Windows specialty, and there are other operating systems like Linux and Mac and some other services. So like I need to be understanding of that. And I'm kind of like, wait, you don't know how to find a power setting in Windows? But I digress. The biggest component that I think is fundamental is knowing the concept of basic networking. Sorry. So yeah, the I think one of the basic fundamentals is like basic networking. Like oh yeah, don't even get me started. I think the like basic fundamentals of networking, like, hey, how do you subnet? You know, like your basic subnets. At least your class A, B, and C's. Man, I don't understand how, but I've encountered more problems of people not knowing the basic networks, like the classes, and having full-blown arguments with people that don't understand that you need to understand basic concepts of networking before you can do anything. And I've had major fights of people that don't know how to subnet, people that don't know how to, to see if it's a class A, B, or C subnet, or it's a public subnet or private subnet. And it causes all sorts of networking issues. And a lot of the things is just either I take it for granted, or it's just this should be common knowledge. And I'm kind of torn of, is this really common knowledge now, or is this something that I need to actually like take that it's a specialty or a skill that I have that apparently not a lot of people do have. Another basic common fundamental is, I have to be very careful with my words here. I think it's just Windows. Like Windows, I think it's just a core fundamental that I think people need to have. Now, this one's I'm slightly biased. Obviously, if you're in a corporate environment and you're a IT guy or a help desk that is a mostly Windows shop, that kind of becomes like, no, duh, you need to. But you'd be surprised on how many shops are 100% Linux-based servers and operating systems on like backend stuff and server ends. And they're like, oh, common knowledge is you should know how to do bash and scripting and this and that. And like, that's stuff that at least now I'm learning. Excuse me, I have to clean my mouth. Much better. And a lot of the things is just, hey, Linux does this. Yeah, so does Windows. Yeah, but it does it better. Yeah, so does Windows. And then you start going down the fandom. But like knowing the common, like you're a Linux shop, but you're running Windows on your computer, you should know at least the basics of Windows. And I think the basic of Windows really just is, oh man, I'm gonna get very, very nitpicky on this one. Like if you're an admin and you're a mixed Windows Linux shop, you should know what tools, especially Active Directory. I think that's pretty much common across the industry, that you should know how to manage and maintain Active Directory. I think that's an expectation that I think everybody should do. Another common fundamental is kind of order of operations, or kind of understanding how to troubleshoot and how to understand concepts of, oh man, it's so trippy because I want to get like extremely specific, but that's not a fundamental. Those are very like specific advanced things. I think for the most part it's just, I just take this for granted. I really do. I take for granted the amount of experience that I have, and I think it's just common when it's not. But okay, I'm gonna bring that one back. I'm gonna go down the next one. I think a fundamental that I think everybody should have, just basic security practices. Hey, password plain text, bad. Password 123, bad. Password written down somewhere and that's not secure or encrypted, bad. Passwords where it's easily accessible, bad. Not having MFA nowadays is bad. I guess it's just the industry that I'm in it deals with such a high level of security that you should have some basic fundamentals and basic concepts of security. And I think it's just one of those things that you just, for me, like inherent. Like I know that this needs to be like that, and I know that it needs to be built out this way, and I know it needs to be thought out in this way, but it just doesn't. Like I find people like, oh, I'm doing this. I'm like, that's not secure. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, look, you do this, this, and this. But that doesn't happen. I'm like, okay. Pull up article. Hey, a database has been hacked and passwords are in clear text. And all of a sudden 15 million bank records are now out in the public internet. Yeah, no. Like these are things that I see, and I see on the internet, and I see being posted, and I see some people like bring this up, and I'm like, no, you should have some basic concepts of security before you implement it. What's another fundamental? I think a fundamental, and I think this is just kind of this is my bias. I think a fundamental is scripting. Having a fundamental understanding of some basic scripting, just like maybe like an if-else concept and some concepts of data sets and data types. Like I learned that so far, and now I learned it and I understand it and I dominate it so well. But it took me such a long time to understand it. It was such a big hurdle for me to kind of like wrap my head around, that once I understood it and I understood the power behind it, it really opened up an entire world for me of possibilities. But I think basics of scripting, basic fundamentals of concepts, and what's the other word I'm looking for? Like concepts and not theories, but frameworks like Python, Bash, PowerShell, Perl if you really want to get saucy, Batch if you want to get old school. I think those are just very critical tools that I think everybody should have a basic understanding of, because once you learn one, you kind of know all of them. It's just different iterations of it. But let me see. So I went through networking, security, Windows, Active Directory, scripting. Then I have another one. I just have to think about what it was. Okay. I'm gonna be very careful on how I choose these words, but I'm just gonna say it no matter what. I think if you're gonna try to go for system administrator and you've never been help desk, you're not gonna be successful. There, I said it. And here's the reason why. If you don't know the struggles of the help desk, and you don't know the customer service side of help desk, and you went from, let's just say that you went to a boot camp, or you went from a college or something like that, and you went straight to system administrator, your experience is extremely jaded, unfortunately, because you haven't had the exposure of a full-on help desk scenario where you've had to be level 1 troubleshooting and understand the day-to-day issues that users have. And you're gonna be like, oh, monitor not connected, that's way above me. No, dude. A monitor not connected can be so complicated. It can get to the point that your drivers are corrupted, your operating system, which I have seen operating systems just flat out corrupting video drivers and video playback, and it's just things that you don't think that would affect us. And even those translate from like help desk over to servers. A lot, especially if you're Windows based, a lot of that translates directly. I'm pretty strong in Windows because I have a very strong foundation in a help desk, and that foundation really set me up for servers. I think if you're trying to get something more advanced, like in a cloud or database or security or, you know, DevOps. DevOps is a little tricky. I'll get to that one to in a minute. But if you're trying to get more advanced into like system engineering, architecture, network engineering, network architecture, cloud architecture, one of these other concepts, database or cloud, and I don't know, and you don't have the basics of knowing the help desk stuff. You don't have anything you really can build on. So here's an example. If you don't know your basics in networking, you really can't do a lot of like the bigger things that you can do in cloud. You won't know how to build out an not an MPLS, a BGP configuration in Amazon. I'm just going to use Amazon because that's the one I'm exposed to. Let's say you have transit gateways and you need to propagate that over to your HQ. You won't be able to do that because you don't have the BGP. That's the responsibility of the on-prem network guy. Okay, cool. How are you going to propagate it? Do you know how to propagate it? Do you know how to register so that any records get registered on one propagates to all of them? Do you know the concepts? Do you know the understanding? Do you know how to troubleshoot that? That gets really complicated. Going down the route of routing, do you know that if you can get from one point but the other point doesn't know, you'll still get loss of signal or loss of traffic even though you have one way set up? You won't have a return route. Basic networking concepts. You know, those are things that you think that, it's just whatever. No. A lot of the problems that you'll find on a cloud environment, you'll have it in an office environment. There's almost a one-to-one correlation, almost. The only difference is that when you're using cloud infrastructure, it's all in one place, and you can break it 1,000 times. You can still go ahead and fix it because you still have access to the equipment. In an on-prem, you don't. You can actually break it and get to the point that you isolate that entire device, and that changes everything. Trust me, I've done that before. And it's the challenge of knowing, but the benefit of the cloud is that you can just play with it until you figure it out, and then know what you can and you cannot change, so that you can affect the system going up or down. Oh, I can go into a whole thing with cloud. All right, so on to DevOps. So DevOps is a tricky one because you could know concepts more related to programming. Programming. I can't even speak today. Oh my goodness, I'm tired. You need to know the concepts of programming, and then the thing about DevOps, you need to know some level of infrastructure. So it's like a glorified programmer that knows IT. I would put it in that kind of scenario, but you kind of need to know more of both. You can't just be one dominant. If you know how to do both, you know, do like programming like in either Go, Java, Node.js, or what's this other language? My goodness, C, C#, Net. Many other languages there. Rust. If you know how to like develop in that, and then you know how to kind of tailor your code so that you can integrate it into DevOps and infrastructure as code, and you kind of build out even stronger skills. Infrastructure as code is fun. I love it. I want to see if I can start building out maybe build out a series, and I gotta talk to some people in Amazon to see if I can get something where I can start creating like a video series of, hey, let's build a VPC or build out an environment using PowerShell or Python or Bash, or maybe start tinkering out CloudFormation, stuff like that. These are the things that I have in my mind. I have a video idea that I want to do. I need to create the list. Is my top tools that I use on a daily basis. And VS Code is gonna be one. But It's an interesting concept that I look back. I'm gonna get reflective right now because my birthday's tomorrow. Oh my goodness. I can actually reflect now that in the past, has it been 15 years? Because I started in 2007. This is 2023. Yeah. 18, 15, 16. Wait. 2007, 2023. 16 years. Yeah. The past 16 years, I have learned a crazy amount. I'm turning 39 tomorrow. And I have conversations with so many people that I know they know more than I do in certain aspects, but I can talk almost every single thing point to point and not only learn about it, but like learn on it on spot, but understand the concepts extremely quick and have a full on debate with them. It just shocks me that like I can actually get to that mindset quickly and be able to pivot a conversation depending on certain answers of things I don't even understand, and I can understand it quickly. It's just crazy. Now I'm not gonna be like a full blown SME within 5 minutes, but I can have a decent mental conversation and really carry on all of that like in no time. So it's crazy. Like I go through my mind sometimes and I'm like, really, Jose? Really? And I have like, and I guess I'm gonna start ranting a little bit because I really am tired. Now I'm gonna cut. I'm not gonna go on for like an hour and change on this stream today. I need to rest. It's been crazy. But a lot of the things that I experienced and a lot of things that I like nowadays I'm not experiencing much. I'm learning how to be a manager basically on the fly. And I really want to get back to the engineering side of things. I really want to get back and build tools and stuff like that. I have ideas that I want to do, but I need to be able to serve my team in a way that I can give them the leeway that I can at least do in the meantime until we get somebody that sits in the chair. I was gonna go somewhere and I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. Learning all these things that I've learned in the years and go through like my progression from help desk to help desk in an MSP, go from a help desk to like a system engineer at another MSP, and then go from a system engineer, which technically I'm downgrading in title, to system administrator, and then from system administrator going up to lead system administrator and then cloud engineer. And a lot of the things that I just think about is just, how did I get here, and how did I get here and why? Like, I'm not the smartest one, but I do love what I do. I think that's really attributes to what has gotten me so far in my career. Like I'm in cloud and I never took a class in cloud. I'm not even certified in cloud. But I have ideas that it's just I have these ideas and concepts in cloud and I'm like, wait, we can do this. Oh, we can do this. Oh, and I just start throwing out theories of like, I think I can do this. I think I can do that. I just need to figure out if I could. Can we? And it's just like, I think we can, but I need to test it. Problem is that I don't have the time to test it. But these are the things that like I talk with my team. I'm like, hey, I have ideas, but I know that we don't have time. But would this be in theory possible? And I usually get an answer of yes. And it's just like, you're like, oh, that would be cool if we could do this. I'm like, yeah, it would be. But what benefit will we get from it? And I'm looking at like building these intricate systems for us to be able to maintain our systems, and it gets to the point that it's extremely complicated. I'm doing like this tangled web, and it gets crazy. Like the next tier that I want to get to in automation is doing the try catches. Like, hey, I'm gonna try this. If it errors out, do this, and then stuff like that. I need to get into those concepts because that's really is where I need to get. That's where I think my actual scripting prowess will actually just come to like an epitome. Like the upper echelon of scripting when you start getting to that level. And like I can build these nicely complex scripts that can do a lot of things, but I think just building this try catches and finalies, that's where you're like top notch. And I think that's just what I see it. I think that just ideal scenarios where we could where we see a potential growth in something, or there's a new thing that you want to really tinker with, or you just don't understand it. Like for me, I don't understand Ansible yet. I started tinkering with it. I did like a quick proof of concept and it worked, but I need to see what the capabilities of Ansible is and what I could and cannot what I can and cannot accomplish with Ansible. Ansible is extremely powerful if executed right, and that's the one thing that I really want to see is what can Ansible do and what can it replace in my day-to-day tasks. That opens up an entire world of things that we can do. But again, it's kind of like one of those things where it's just like, what do you need to do? If, like what can you leverage it for? And it just becomes almost infinite, and that's scary. I like it. A little scary, but I like it. Yeah, I think that's for the most part like the ideas that I have. Like fundamentals are just, I think they're, like I mentioned in the beginning of the stream, I think they're just overlooked. But I think the fundamentals of IT kind of rely on networking, knowing infrastructure. Oh, you know what? I should have really touched upon this. Knowing how a server's function, memory, CPU, storage, RAID. I think all those components are extremely important to understand. Know what might be a bottleneck, know how to troubleshoot or kind of get diagnostics on that. I was actually talking to one of my guys today, and he's like, hey, I have somebody's laptop that's slow. Like I'm looking for these tools. I think of like this defrag or disk cleanup. I'm like, how about we just start looking at capturing CPU usage and start jotting the basics. Let's jot down what's happening at certain times, and let's also run a hardware diagnostic. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be one of those too. Something is just one CPU, one process just goes haywire, or something just goes bad, and we can start seeing what's going on and go from there. So fundamentals, it's something that I'm gonna be kind of like mulling on for a few days, because fundamentals, like I did baseball for years, and they keep on telling you baseball fundamentals. What the heck are baseball fundamentals? I was 8-9 years old. What the heck is fundamentals? Like, hey, how do you catch a ball and then you toss it back to home? You think that's not hard? Actually, no. There's a lot of intricacies to parts to it. You got to do the crow hop. That actually it's a thing in baseball. It's called a crow hop. You do that, you actually get more momentum in throwing the ball instead of just on a stand throw. Especially if you're outfielders, which I was. Slow, but I had a freaking arm back in the day. Knowing the fundamentals of catching the ball, having soft hands, especially if you're infielder. um, the swing, knowing how to, the angles of the bat, the timing of your foot, the positioning of your feet, the bending of your knees. There's so many little fundamentals that if you don't get those, your baseball skills will be terrible. Once you perfect those fundamentals, like, hey, how do you slide? How do you, how do you pitch? How do you control the ball? And how do you catch a ball? And how do you, what are your instincts? Do you throw to second? Do you throw to first? Bunting, stealing a base. It's so many little concepts. Like the ideas of, like, in playing baseball, you would, like, your situational hitting. That's another thing that they don't teach you. Situational hitting, like, you have somebody on first, you want to hit towards the line, you want to hit towards away from the bases, so that you can try to at least get somebody on second. Maybe you'll be able to squeeze it between two players, or like by third and short. Again, so many little details, but again, it's fundamentals, and not just mental, but in also technique. I think in I'm just gonna add a little bit more. In kind of shifting gears, thinking about getting a new Switch. I've been trying to see if I can get a managed Switch from Ubiquiti, like either secondhand or refurbed or something like that, but I can't find like an 8 or 16 port managed Switch for like less than $200. And that's kind of like me stretching what I want to do. Let me see what they have. Switching. Door. Ooh, Chipotle. Enterprise in wall. Wow, they got some new stuff. Oh, door lock relay. 500 feet. E5 flags. Oh, they finally got the new ones. Okay. Switching. Yeah, they got this Switch Lite for $200. Well, it's PoE as well. That's why it's $200. This $300. Layer 2. Oh, which do I want that? That's $100 more. I want a PoE though. I could get a PoE, but do I want a PoE? Dude, this is the one. This is the ones that I see and I'm like, I need to kind of do a count. This is layer 2. I need a layer. I want to get a layer 3. Like, what can you manage on this? Yeah, I want to get something like this. This is not smart. Layer 2. I have to get a Switch Pro, I guess. What the heck is this? Oh. Oh, that's right. I haven't seen. $40? It's not bad. I actually use it. Switch Enterprise. Layer 3. It's crazy that Layer 3 is so expensive. I wonder, do they have anything on early? Oh, I have to sign up. That's interesting. Not bad. There is something that I am gonna get. I am gonna get a Mac. Actually. There's rumors about the new Macs, the M3. The M3 is very interesting. I did see this though. But they have again, this is the secret right here. Where's the clearance? There, certified refurbished. There we go. Oh, they changed the certified refurbished. Okay. This is the way. This is the way to get a Mac. Okay, I don't understand why they still sell this. Here we go. Right here. This is a 256 gig, yeah. Oh man, this is the frustrating part. You need to get the right size. You want to get a 512 for that. This year 22. Nice. Eventually 15 will be there. Capacity 512. Okay, see, this is not that bad. 1349. Rather just spend the extra $300 on an external hard drive. Maybe just be better. You got more capacity, that's for sure. Okay, you see, this is. M2 with 10 core GPU. Oh yeah, this. Oh, that's. This is a 10-core GPU. That's why it's more expensive. I don't want that. I need the base model. Which is the base model? Okay. I want this one. $512. It's the same thing. This is more G. I don't. Let's see. Wow. So that's how they get you, huh? Does at least give you more memory though? 8 gigs. Yeah, so I actually got to play around with the MacBook Air and the speakers. God, the speakers like shocked me. Not like literally, but yeah, you know what I mean. I'm really curious about the supposedly you're going to release the a 15-inch wow, I just blanked out. 15-inch MacBook Air. I think supposedly it's gonna have the M2. And I'm crossing fingers that they start cutting the price because apparently they're not moving enough like product. If that's the case, I might actually just like if they don't cut, I might actually just go for an M1. But they just don't have the color I want. Ooh. Oh well, I'll just put a D brand on it. The M1 going move pretty fast. Yeah, if I want to kit it out to the way I want it, it's just gonna cost the same price. I don't get this. Why is it $200 to add memory? Ridiculous. Well, that's Apple. I rather get the Pro, the second M2. Better everything. Not the Pro. I said M2, right? I don't even know what I said anymore. Alright. Well, I am extremely tired, and I will call it a night, right? Alright, guys. Have a good night.